What's going on, everybody? This is TacticDesign. I wanted to shoot a real quick video, nothing super in detail or anything like that, but I wanted to kind of give y'all an overview of a little bit in my limited space of what, like, give y'all an idea of what you're going to be seeing on the channel here, some of the stuff we'll be talking about. And I know a really prevalent item on the table is knives, and I'll address that in a minute. I kind of wanted to give a respective representation of sort of the subcategories I collect knives in, at least for my folders, and then y'all get the general idea that I do collect fixed blades as well. And this is all where it kind of started for me, that and being into survival and prepping and doing those kinds of things. My grandfather had enrolled me in classes since I was young, learning how to do it. He took me out, taught me, took me camping, all kinds of stuff, and it's always been a hobby that really stuck with me. And I don't know where the instillment of knives are awesome came from, because to be 100% with you, my grandfather isn't really the biggest knife guy. He always did have a knife on him, and he always did express the value in keeping a good sharp knife with you at all times, but he wasn't a collector by any means. He had a couple of knives that worked for him. A gentleman from our church made him 2 different ones, and those were the ones he was carrying on him that day. Unfortunately, one of them was stolen, and they were both handmade custom knives by the gentleman in our church, whose name I'm not going to say, just out of respect and not trying to put his stuff out there, but because he's kind of a private maker, and I'm not even allowed to talk to him about making a knife. I've asked my grandfather 100 times, he won't let me. But getting off topic, sorry. One of them was stolen, and he still uses one of them to this day as his hunting knife. And I don't know, it just, those 2 are really iconic to me. They really grabbed a hold of me when I was young, and I've always kind of had this taste for knives that resembled and fell into the same category and philosophy of use, as well as, looks, everything else about those 2 particular blades. But it really kind of expanded for me when I got into, when I turned 16 and 17, I got into folders a little bit because I was skateboarding every day, and for some reason me and my friends just got this real quick notion that folding knives were the coolest thing in the world. Oh wow. Which I'm not going to sit here and try to explain or anything like that. Excuse me there, sorry about the pause for a moment. I can't really explain where it came from. It was, as far as I can remember, it was really just like one day somebody said something about knives, and we went and we all picked one up, and we carried it every day, and we started doing, having a little collection built up between a few of us, and it didn't stay as, I don't know, as big of a priority as it was at the time. Obviously, we couldn't run around and buy knives every day, but it was a good time, and for some reason ever since then, I really got into folding knives as well. Now I've gone from a general store folding knife to some pretty respectable names in the industry. I'm actually very proud of the knife collection that I've built up, and if I'm being 100% honest, it's probably the biggest investment I've made in my life as a kind of a periodic investment, things that I still look at and still put money into on a very regular basis if I'm not BSing you. But in folders, I like to kind of break down the different types of knives I carry, and I generally categorize. I have 3 main categories of knives that I collect, which are folders, fixed blades, and multi-tools. And then I break that down into a couple of subcategories, which are high-end value knives and traditional. And I also have kind of my top favorites, but that's completely opinionated and whatever else. The other categories refer to the actual style and build of the knife itself, as well as price point, materials, things like that. Because a value knife, while I'll say a value knife is a really good knife even if I don't like it, as long as the knife itself can stand on its own 2 feet. As long as it does what it's supposed to do the right way for a good price, I'm not gonna bag on it. Not, if I don't like the design, that's one thing. There could be a lot of other guys out there who really do enjoy it. So, whereas, that's concerned, I'll try to keep it 100% and keep my personal opinion out of it, as long as the knife does what it's supposed to do. While at the same time, I'll be sure to tell you, this isn't really the knife for me or whatever else. I've kind of thought about how I'll present everything to you, to be honest. I'm very new to this, as y'all can probably tell. And I don't know, I'm just not exactly sure how to break down the information the right way all the time. So hopefully y'all will give me a little break and allow me some time to get everything in order as I kind of learn how to do these videos myself. But I don't know, it's just knives have always been a big interest of mine, and bringing them to the camera, it's a lot different than just looking at them and taking interest myself. I'm hoping that I can keep people from making purchases that they're going to be disappointed with. I know that when I was in the beginning stages of my collecting, I spent money on knives that I ended up really just not enjoying as much as I thought I would. I would regret spending, the money that I did on it, or on a particular knife, and it would just kind of eat at me, because there would be a knife out there that I really knew I wanted, or that I picked it over because, I thought it was not going to be in stock for long, or whatever stipulation kind of pushed me to get that knife at that time. There are always other blades I'm looking to get, and it's always kind of a challenge to pick which knife I'm going to get that time. So I'm hoping that I can just help other people avoid that, and not just with their knife purchases, but with their gear in general. I'm hoping that you know, I can just give you the best information I can on the products that I've personally used, you know, to see whether or not they would fit you. If you're interested in buying any of the things you see in front of the camera, I hope I can give you a solid representation of how that particular product is in overall quality, and how it functions, and just let y'all know if that is what you pictured, or if it's something that you might want to hold off on and invest your money elsewhere for the time being. I know that a lot of times I do research on knives and stuff, and the videos that I find just wouldn't always answer my questions. Not to say that the majority of the time they weren't answered, because there's a lot of guys on YouTube who do a phenomenal job of representing the products that they're using, and giving you a detailed rundown on how it works and how it feels, and you know, give you an idea of whether or not it's something you would be interested in spending the money on. So, and I've spent a lot of time watching those guys, Black Scout Survival and Gideon's Tactical. Watch some Prepare Mine 101. He does some pretty cool flashlight videos, and everybody on YouTube kind of has their own merits. Apostle P, 1 Ounce Pub, really like those guys. A lot of guys that I'm not particularly mentioning, but you know, they're phenomenal names in the YouTube world, and they do an incredible job. So I just hope that maybe I can bring my own perspective to the table and add a little bit to that. So I've talked a little bit about knives, but there will also be you know, EDC gear, and what I tend to refer to these as are EDC items, tools. And an EDC tool to me is one that does not have a blade. It's kind of an improvised tool. It's not something that you go and would be your first pick to tackle a job that it could do, you might say. But is a good thing to have on you in case you run into something where you might need it. Those are EDC tools to me. You know, they're not your first pick, but they certainly work when you need to get something done. And again, don't have a blade. So things like this, Andre DeVille's tack tool, just as a couple different, you know, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. The Raptor Bird of Prey multi-tool, Koch Deuce. There's a bunch of different EDC tools out there that would certainly fall into this category. The key bar can definitely be one of those. While I only have this configured for my keys right now, I do have a carabiner and flathead screwdriver insert. I want to get the mustache comb because I tell you what, I've actually figured out that can be quite useful when you're walking around at work and your mustache looks completely torn up. So I've thought about picking one of those up. You can also get a Chavez friction folder knife insert with an Insingo style or Warncliffe style blade, and it's really cool. That's something that I would love to do. You can make it, you know, you can turn the knife into a tip up carry in your pocket, put the lanyard here at the bottom and just use it like an everyday carry friction folder. And I just think that they do some really incredible innovative stuff. Different people, the market is really progressing as far as EDC and the things it makes you, or it allows you to carry in such small packages. Like this is, you know, a tool, and it's my carabiner usually, but it's also obviously knuckles that I can use for non-lethal self-defense, or hopefully non-lethal self-defense. I assume that if you hit somebody in the right spot, you could certainly cause a life-threatening problem at the very least. But my, you know, priority in using these would be not to kill somebody, but to do everything I could to get away from someone. You know, as well as it's a very convenient carabiner, and it works for a lot of different things. I've fixed used it as a wrench a bunch of times. I mean, you can see this is the Brass Solo 2.0, and it's got a little bit of a patina showing up. You can see scratches here. And honestly, this is one of the coolest tools to see lived in wear on, I think, like your pry bars and things like this, because it really shows that, you know, you don't just carry it, that you're able to put it to use every once in a while. And I just love that, you know, if not in other people's stuff, because I don't really have the time to pay attention to other people's gear when they pull it out. I just think it looks really cool on mine, and I love it when my stuff gets like that. Like this, I just polished, and you can still see there's a lot of wear marks on it, on the blade itself. Put a new edge on this a couple of weeks ago, my Edge Pro Apex, before I started really getting to know the Wicked Edge, and it came out really nicely. But you can see on the blade itself as well, it's been through the ringer. This knife is actually has hand-carved wood scales. I can't remember what the wood is called. I'd have to ask my uncle. He got it for me from Brazil when he went on a wrestling trip. And man, it's just very sentimental piece, very high-end piece, especially back when he got it. It'd be really hard to focus in on this for you, but sometimes you can see it says, yeah, right there, art number, and it's been scratched off. And I remember about 3 or 4 years after he got this for me, I showed it to him, and he was like, oh man, you know, I'm stoked you still got it and everything, but you know that was an art piece, bro. Like, you could have, if you didn't use it or anything, it would have been worth a lot of money. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, it was an art piece, like the dude hand carved the scales and everything, and it had like a serial number and all that, or, you know, just what I guess it would be considered a serial number. And I was 11 when he gave this to me. I was 10, about to turn 11, or had just turned 11. And, you know, I just didn't know the value of what I had in my hand. I saw it as a pocket knife, a really cool, beautiful knife to use, and that's exactly what I did. But looking back on it now, if I had the chance, I would keep this knife as pristine as I possibly could. Again, at the time that I got this, I wasn't that into folders. I had a couple of buck slip joints and stuff that my father had given me as like my first knives. And I had a Gerber that my grandfather gave me on a fishing trip one time, which was actually my first locking knife with just one blade. You know, it wasn't like a Stockman. It didn't have 2 or 3 tools on it, or whatever the case may be. It wasn't a Swiss Army knife. It had one blade that you pulled out, it locked, you could cut with it, and then you could put it back into the handle. It was simple, and I fell in love with it. But again, I was too young. I wasn't able to go and buy knives myself. So folders just weren't really a prevalent thing to me. And fixed blades were just so cool. But again, I did use this knife a lot, and do to this day, only because there's no reason for me not to now. But it's a beautiful piece, a very sentimental piece. Probably one of the only knives that I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt will never go anywhere, will be passed down to my children. Granted, I have the time to have kids. This would be something that stays in the family. But also, you know, there's things like tactical pins, and I actually collect pins too, and flashlights. EDC tools I collect, knives and guns. So to be honest, I don't know, it's kind of hard to break down the collections that I keep, because I collect a lot of different gear. Guns, this was actually my first one, Glock 19. Very simple, but proven. An effective weapon. Has 15 rounds to the mag, and it is, you know, all around a good self-defense, home defense, or concealed carry pistol, and that's why I went with it. You know, it's just a good, solid piece of hardware, and you know, down the road I kind of changed and went more with my 38, and that's what I normally carry for concealed carry now. And I'm looking to get my Ruger 357 back that I had before this gun, or get the same model, purchase the same model at the very least. But my gun collection is slowly but steadily growing. I've gotten to the point now where I'm spending gun money on knives, so it's again hard to sit there and pick what I'm going to actually put my money on, because it takes me a little bit to save up for this stuff. I'm only 23 and I have 2 part-time jobs, you know, not what I consider a career, but I'm also working on that as well, getting the TacticDesign name into knife retail, but I'll talk more about that in the future, when I actually have more solid information I can give you, because everything is really still in the works. So, but on top of those multi-tools, I also collect mainly Leatherman is what my collection consists of now, but I do have Victorinox Swiss Tool and Swiss Tool Spirit, and I just think that these are 2 of the most beautiful full-size multi-tools that you could own. This is sort of a medium-duty multi-tool, not nearly as big or heavy-handed as the Swiss Tool, and this is a Swiss Tool Spirit Model X. I just love it. I really, really do. It is a great multi-tool for outdoors and, you know, just survival craft, bushcraft, whatever the case may be. This is a great tool to have with you. Just like Leatherman's. I mean, this is one of the only multi-tools that I'd put in the same category as some of my Leathermans, as far as, you know, quality and overall durability. So one more thing I wanted to address, I also do sharpening, and I work with two different systems at the time. Oh, excuse me, bumping the camera a bunch. But this knife, my Ready Hills, is, or Riate Hills, whatever you prefer to call it, is going out today in the mail. Got it off on Knife Traders on the Facebook group. Awesome people, and gentleman offered me most of the money I had posted it for, and considering the price on this has gone down a considerable amount since I first got it, it was not, you know, a bad deal at all. I do appreciate him being so kind. I had a snowstorm here last week, and it's kind of left things a little crazy in town. And the post office was closed yesterday, or I'm sorry, the day before when I tried to go. And I was working most of yesterday. I wasn't able to get up there, but he's been very nice and patient. Sent me the money 3 days ago, and so it is time for this beauty to go out. If the post office is not open today, I will be sending it via UPS. But I put a 20-degree per side edge on it for him, and this was with the wicked edge, so it is not mirror polished, but it is very well done. It's got a very, well, I don't think you'll be able to see that. Let me see what I can do here, maybe. It'll show up better. Excuse my dirty fingernail. Not really showing up next to the carbon fiber. Wow. Yeah, maybe that'll work. Yeah, nice even bevel at the point. Very even. Sometimes that's hard for me to get 100% straight on a full flat ground knife. I don't know why, but sometimes it is. And this knife is just done so well from the factory. Starts at the choil, ends at the tip. Very nice edge. And this thing is wicked sharp. I mean, ridiculously sharp. One moment. Really sharp. So he asked me to put a 20-degree edge on that per side, 40-degree inclusive. That's exactly what I did. It's actually, I took it a little bit more fine grain than it was from factory, but again, it's not a mirror edge. I asked him, I have my new ceramic stones on the way right now. I asked him if he'd like me to wait until they came in, but he said he was happy, or more than happy, with what I can do as of right now. So I hope you like it, bro. It'll be on the way to you in about a half an hour. So enjoy. Keeping your name a secret, but you know me on Facebook. So if you do come across this video, there's your knife, bud. Probably going to be switching over to the new sharpening system full time when the new ceramic stones come in. So hopefully I can get a little bit of word out about that on here as well. But I've taken up enough of your time. This has been an introduction to TacticDesign channel, a brief and small overview. Again, there's a lot of things that I'm not able to fit inside this space. Got a couple of axes I'm going to be doing a review on here soon. A couple of canteens and some other things, more outdoor and you know, bushcraft, camping oriented items, or you know, survival craft, which is more so my thing. I like to practice survival craft. It's just fun. And testing fixed blades, stuff like that. We'll be doing a lot of. We'll be doing overnight trips, and hopefully when I'm able to get a camera that has night shot ability, we'll be doing a lot more overnight stuff and videos. We won't be so limited by what time we have to leave and what time we have to get out there, whatever the case may be, which I've found has been kind of stressful sometimes. But anyway, again, I've taken enough of your time, so I hope you like what you've seen here. I know I didn't go into detail about everything on the table, but y'all get a decent idea of what the orientation of this channel will be, and some of the other stuff will kind of fall in as we go along. But first and foremost, I'm a knife collector, and I just hope that I can help some people out there make the best decisions they can with their money, especially if they're at those points where I was, where I didn't make the best decisions. So if that happens, then this channel is sort of worth it, in my opinion. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you'd like to see an in-depth review or my opinion in review of any of these items, please feel free to leave it in the comments, and subscribe if you'd like. That'd be cool. If not, come check back in with us soon. Hopefully we'll have some more stuff that catches your eye, and y'all have a great day. Later.